Hey guys, Andy Yen, spoken name. Part two. My mate here, Eric Loveland Heath. Yes, extended podcast with one of my best mates. Always great to catch up, Eric.
Hmm.
More on Plenty Wedlock now. We're going to move on to probably the most mysterious project I like of Plenty Wedlock is the mysterious Wildy when they sneaked out another EP, didn't they, on Solstice over
Yeah,
in
so
May.
yeah, Wildly put out Solstice, so perfectly timed. Got a nice write up in Moon Building as well. Thanks to Neil Mason for that. So yeah, a series of pieces written for each solstice, summer solstice, over 5 years, and yeah, just a very beautiful release, I think. Just
Yeah, one of my favourite ones this past year, straight away of it. And
it's been
I like the
really
fact
hard to sort of hold on, and to know about it for that long.
it's a fascinating one because it's with each track being done over the years, it shows the development of the artist. I think any sort of person that does it, you do a release that over that period.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
fascinating one, and it's one worth you try and check it out, certainly. So, and hope who knows, perhaps in 5 years' time, might be another one from Wind Wildly on that theme,
I mean,
Solstice 2.
why not? I mean, tubular bells, aren't
Well, it's a bit
so yeah,
shorter than Tubular Bells, this.
yeah. Well, maybe it needs to take into account the I don't know, difference in time. One of the things about the Wildly EP, the Solstice one, is it's the specific time of sunrise on solstice morning day at a particular place, which is where it was photographed, which is the so each track is the time of sunrise. And I think it sort of shows the way that the our rotation of the Earth
Oh, great, yeah.
changes as well. So yeah, the timings are when sunrise would have been noticed first or observed first at Mitchell's Foldstone Circle in Shropshire. So yeah, a very very sort of satisfying EP, I think, and the inside. I mean, the artwork's lovely, I think, but the CD itself is a leaf sun. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lovely cover straight away with it. So, and it's nice, beautiful, beautiful EP indeed. Now, okay, moving on from there then. That's why this one I'm going to start getting mixed up here now. But obviously, you had your Shropshire number stations released, didn't you? But
so
I'm going to did
yeah, so
Brimidin and Borderlands. Did that come up
mm,
next?
it's Brython
My
and Borderlands. Yeah.
my Welsh is
So
crap, right?
it's all right. It's all right. So the hills nearby are called the Brythons,
Hmm.
and there's a pub, called the Brython. One of the interesting things about Middletown, which is where the Brython Inn, which I went to before, where it used to do folk nights. It's quite a lot of the time in the winter. It's in shadow because the afternoon the sun is behind the hill, so it's absolutely freezing there. But yeah, so Brython Borderlands, the series of three hills, and also the peaks of that hill range. And yeah, the stations that are broadcasting within that area are sort of quite slapdash, I guess, issue. We came out without much notice again quite quickly. I think that's the nature of the project as well, to sort of not telegraph it too much. But no, it was good to have something new. I mean, so it had, as we mentioned in the first part, a fair amount of radio play, and I thought, oh well, it needs something else as well. Quite a lot of the project has either been the the first collection, I guess, Shots from Mid Wales, or some of the capturing of the live broadcasts. Still an aim to do something like that in the future, but yeah, quite an immediate thing, I think, just to try and get what we had out and see how it went. So
I think a lot of this project is does seem to have the immediateness behind it, doesn't it? Because it's a quite a very, very different project to your other stuff. But I think it's a lot bit of improvisation, a lot of it to me, and it's very raw, and I like it for that.
It's just trying to capture things
Yeah,
that if there are things that are interesting, doesn't matter what they are. But if you're scanning the radio waves, if you're sort of skimming through things, and something takes your interest, again, Left 4 Dead have done amazing compilations of things similar. So I think there's a really interesting sort of go back to the Shropshire and Mid Wales tape issue is that Boomcat wrote about it and said that it's sort of it's obviously been tweaked a bit, but it's fascinating to know that these things exist on the airwaves, and there are that is the thing, that things exist on the airwaves that you're unsure of. I would never, could never claim to have sort of created things. It's a mixture of things that are they're broadcast in various ways, and therefore it's interesting to hear someone, I guess, collate that if it is the case. Sometimes it's straight, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a mixture. I mean, I think in many other cases, people have done similar things where you don't necessarily you have the ear of a curator, and you'd want to sort of present it in a way that you would want to hear.
no, nicely put indeed. Nicely agree with you on that. Now, obviously, round about this point, your second book came out, didn't it, as well?
Mhm.
Because obviously, look at the chronological things, the further guide to the law of plenty wedlock.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
we did talk about this in the first half, but I know
mm,
there's some else you want to talk about this book, isn't there? And I've got a question as well.
yeah, yeah. So I wrote a second volume of lore and for the the lore of Plenty Wenlock Records, but which is mostly sort of local folklore, either and in things of interest, local things that are sort of probably worded differently to the way that people would come across them or whatever. But it was I don't know. The first book did extremely well on the folklore zine circuit, really, and so I thought I'll sort of I'll do a second volume, and it went through a slightly sort of painful, I guess, gestation. It wasn't an easy thing to put together, and it didn't sort of the first print run didn't work and things like that, but yeah, it was an interesting thing to do, but also it sort of led to what we were talking about earlier, which is that it led to something like Jack's book or other books and things. It sort of solidified what the publishing side of Plenty Wenlock would be, which is Plenty Wenlock Press. And so we've sort of got records and press, and they've taken slightly different journeys, I think. They've separated slightly, but they sort of keep together, I guess. There's still a similarity, but it's meant that I can do things like videos and stories and things. So where I guess the as a musician, you're always annoyed that you don't have the visuals or the words with your release. They're kind of stuck in a certain way. Stories allow you to develop that, or words allow you to develop that, and I guess they're satisfying sort of both sides of a whole.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
think it does.
yeah,
It makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. That, and it's often what I like about you, Eric, is apart from your work is you're never sitting still. And I'm like the same with a fellow creative person. You're often pushing yourself forward all the time, and this is a great example of it. So, no, great stuff indeed. Now, obviously, the next one, this one, I was getting a bit confused in the dates before in this, was your remix, or you call it a single you did with the fantastic Karen Vock of This Is Spirit. Now,
yeah.
obviously, I want to learn about what made you want to do this remix first of all.
So there's a simple answer is that it Karen did a an album. It was the relaunch of Haunted Woodland, the series that was originally about sort of local woodland. Then it developed into Surfsting's one about UK woodland, and then with Karen's, it's developed into just, I guess, like it's the human interpretation or sort of recognition feel of woodland. What is haunted? What does it mean? And so Karen's is about a grove of trees in Paris that she walks past. And Karen Vogt is a an Australian vocalist and musician who co-founded Heligoland, who worked with Robin Guthrie. Got another album coming,
Oh, oh,
fantastic
I didn't
musician.
know about that. Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah,
I'm well up
definitely.
for that. I got the first album he did then. Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
brilliant.
I have a lovely
Wow.
memory of seeing. I remember meeting Karen. It was in Lon, I think. Or was it Le Mans? It was Lon, I think, in France, and her partner Steve was playing bass in this band, and he's 6'7" or something, or 7 foot, and he found a space in sort of the grooves of the roof.
Wow.
So yeah, but Karen had done this album, and as per you know Ben from Wayside and Woodland said, are people keen on doing remixes? And I listened to it and I said, I don't really want to take this one because it's the one that's got the most sort of hook. I don't know if I can do it justice. Let's see. So I took Spirit, which to sort of explain is its hook is it says Spirit all the way through, but it's got the most ethereal of the vocal parts. I think the recordings just or the tracks just sort of a bass and a guitar, I think, and just vocal. And Karen keeps it very, very simple at times. And I stuck it over a drum beat I had. Found
Wow.
a patch on a synth I've got recently called an XV3080, a digital synth for Roland one. It's very, sort of very jazzy vocal and a bass part, and then just put it together, and it did extremely, it went down really well. Karen loved it, and we started talking to each other and just saying, "I really like this," and she said, "Oh, I think it's more," and so some people picked it up on a blog and just said, "Oh yeah, this is called This Is Spirit," and we thought that's probably a better name than
It's just
Spirit.
Spirit, yeah.
Yeah, just we've
Yeah.
got Spirit E.L. Heath remix, This Is Spirit, and so we just released it as This Is Spirit. So we did it as a 7 inch with Spirit as the other side. I don't think there's an A and B side on it. Um, and it's so yeah, it was a lathe cut. But it's the first vinyl I've ever had. Unfortunately, the copies we were going to get got lost, but we're getting a new set made. So yeah, they got lost in transit, but we're getting a new set through, and I can't wait to see it. We got some stickers done
Nice.
in sort of 90s rave style saying this is Spirit and
Brave.
everything. It's
Oh,
just so much
brilliant.
fun. I mean, Karen is, and I'll just put it down here, is one of the most just fun people to work with. I think it's an absolute pleasure, just to work with someone who sends you a voice note saying, how great's this,
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant stuff. Hopefully you'll get to work with her again, mate. John Sheen, you never know.
We've got plans. The
Good.
plans is
So
that,
you
that we
so
don't
you should.
no, we don't know what those plans are, but we're going to work on them.
Sounds good to me, that mate. Keep us informed, mate. Definitely that one. Definitely that brilliant stuff. Now, the next release I want to talk about you is this is the one that the write-up really grabbed me with this, and it was obviously Defender Waves.
Oh
Now,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I saw Perry. Oh God, on one of the very early avant-garde gigs. Oh my God, a
yeah.
long time ago. Was it
I saw
90s?
them.
Was it 90s?
You would have seen them in the 90s. I saw
Right,
them
yeah.
sort of mid 2000, I'm sure, in Wolverhampton. And goodness, just wow. I mean, by that point, and it's an interesting thing. Yeah, they were championed by Peel.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness, there is an incredible story that I'll keep very short, but that they performed a Peel session. They were recording the Peel session. Ant was there, and Harding and Perry and Steve, um, and they found out that John Peel had died, and they
Oh,
carried on.
of course
So
it was,
so
yeah.
Ant found out on his phone, I think,
Okay.
that John Peel had died that day, and they carried on. So that session is incredible. And I've heard some stuff from Steve, that is very different. I mean, Avatar's a fascinating band. They're sort of very electronic. Guidance and the from Adjacent Field and Summer Blonde, the one on Wayside Woodland. It just they're brilliant. They're brilliant recordings, but they are a band that is not sort of what I think they were live. And then when I saw them in Wolverhampton, they very much were. But and sort of Pez had swapped to bass, and Steve was on guitar. But I kind of I don't feel like I can play the octave delay, sorry, no, octave reverb sound. I think that's Perry's sound, and I don't think I can nick that. I think every time I hear someone else use it on sort of octave reverb solo, it's they're ripping off Perry. So,
Oh,
but yeah, he did this incredible EP or short album a few years back with Wayside called. Can you correct me? It was the not Defender Waves. It was
okay.
under his more. It was vocal, wasn't it? And
Oh,
uh,
God.
hmm.
I can't.
Shall,
Was it?
shall, shall we shall we find out? Can you find it?
Yeah, yeah. God, was it on the Defender? Was it? It was him. Oh, yeah.
It wasn't
Oh,
Defender Waves. It's Geneva Drive. There we go.
that was it.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
you got
yeah,
it right up. Yeah,
and
apologies. Yeah,
it's just so
yeah.
good.
Soft Like a Fire is a great album. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Brilliant. And I was just sort of trawling through some of his Defender Waves EPs, and I said, "Oh, I think there's something here." And we had a chat, and he came up with an order, and we just released it. And the beauty is that with Paz, the artwork's often something that he's very fond of, and I think we found an incredible image that was by a friend, and it printed out beautifully. And we got to do a very nice version of it, a black CD. Not many of those around, and the artwork, and a little extra print that came with it as well. So, yeah, it did superbly well. So it's in, which I should have here, but I don't. It's an electronic sound magazine. It got in there because Bob Fisher reviewed it, the journalist, and it's the front cover is well, it's Gary Newman. So Pez just said, I'm in a magazine with my childhood hero on the front cover.
Wow.
Couldn't have imagined this. So that's the beauty of doing what we do is sometimes those happy accidents happen, and you just do something of wonder.
Yeah, I was at. I loved the write-up on it where you compared it to the Ghosts of Flying Saucer Attack, and
I
that
think
was one of my first favourite bands back in the early '90s. That was, and they never played Mansion. It annoyed me that did, but I did go down to Bristol to see them, and if you can get hold of the bootleg of this, Eric, it's called Noise Assault. I went down there thinking they played some of these beautiful folk music like they've been playing on the further album. It was 45 minutes of full-on aggressive noise. It was absolutely incredible.
it's yeah, I mean just what they could
Yeah,
do, isn't it? It's
yeah. But I
I
loved it.
think one of the things about Avocal is that they were just effortlessly beautiful. Just I mean
Same,
Perry's
same.
sensibility. I cannot. I don't want to sound, I don't want to embarrass him, but it is there is a singularity into his melody, his sense of melody that I don't know, I can't copy, but I find effortlessly sort of just inspiring. It just there's something otherworldly, and I kind of wrote it in the little press release I sent out to people. It's just I don't think everything Perry writes sounds like it's come from outer space. It is, and
Yeah,
I think that's Flying Saucer Attack as well. I think there's that link. There's a beautiful link through West Midlands music, stuff on Sarah Records, all sorts of things. Just really good music out there where it just sounds like it's come from outer space.
yeah.
And
I get a lot that
Perry
would.
is it.
I get a lot that would do like Skies, and that's why I think Perry and Ant are or were a really good combo when they did the avant-garde music together. I can really see that to this day. So no, it was a great release. Really, really
Yeah,
enjoyed doing this.
yeah.
I wasn't aware of the singles you were referring to, but they make great sense being on the same album. Definitely with that.
I mean,
So
guidance just on a
yeah,
very sort of low level here. Find guidance the Avocar EP and just
Yeah,
listen, just it's incredible.
yeah, no, great, great, complete with it. Now, the most surprising release of the year for me, and this one I wasn't expecting, but obviously I've got a friend called Jamie, and I've never spoken to her. I've met hi Jamie, and he's a lunatic. I've Epic 45 fan and your music fan, and we're always just geeking out me and him on Facebook all the time. And what we both absolutely adored the creepy Jenny release you did with Victoria. It was
Yeah.
absolutely just it was just off this planet for I don't know how to describe it, but it was just something really unusual going on here there was. I'm not sure if it is Vicky or the way you bounced off each other,
It's
but
yeah, it's Vicky. Definitely it's Vicky. I mean, I think probably the easiest way to explain it is that it's my production and engineering knowledge with Vicky's sensibility. So her melodic and sort of compositional sensibility. So we wrote them together. I sort of go back and sort of tidy bits up or try a few things. At one point, and it's so embarrassing. I went to one track which I thought needed more embellishment, and I came back and played it to Vicky and went, "Oh God, it was the other one. It was the wrong track that I'd added more to it. It was the thirst. I sort of added more to it." But basically, we had come up with the idea of doing this. We love John Carpenter. We love the Fog. We love things like that, and we just thought, well, let's just do something fun. Let's try it. And what we came up with was the thirst, and that was a single originally, and it's a good track. It's got some of my favorite synth tones on it. It's not trying too hard. It's just being fun. And Vicky found the artwork, interesting enough so the artwork for the single is like a development of the artwork that became the album. I guess unfortunately it's about 4 years in the apart, but yeah. So creepy Jenny comes from Vicky mishearing me saying creeping Jenny, and she goes, "Oh, creepy Jenny," So
ah,
yeah, it's
brilliant.
just it's that daft. But no, it is in one of my favorite things. I think it sounds it's not, you hear so many things that sound like John Carpenter. You hear so many things that are, like Netflixy kind of, that it's, what's the series I'm trying to remember? I managed to forget them.
No, I
Okay.
forgot. I'm gonna
Uh,
I'm gonna play stupid. I don't know.
how have you actually, okay. So Netflix, John Carpenter. I'm going to allow myself this. Um, Stranger Things. There we go. I didn't even see
Ah,
look at it. Yeah, so I mean,
you've got that,
Stranger
yeah.
Things would have been obviously like a really key link to that kind of thing. But we were just going for like The Thing and actually Dark Star. Oh, that's beautiful. Um, and yeah, we just had a play. We've been using this. So we've got a synth called the OB12, which is an Oberheim synth, but it's not. It was made by Viscount in Italy. When Oberheim's brand was owned by someone else. And it's just such an awkward synth. I mean, so I was in a band years ago, and the guy said to me, "Well, what kind of synth do you want?" And I said, "Oh, I want something where everything's out on the front. I can program everything out in the front." Um, and he said, "Oh, an OB12, an Oberheim OB12 would be great." So I got it, and it's like, I can't use this. And part of the problem was that the LFOs, part of the programming of the low frequency oscillators just didn't work, and an OS update worked in the future, but still it's just a really weird synth. Okay, it just doesn't fit normally, and it fitted our sound. So Vicky loves it and won't let me get rid of it, and it takes up so much space. But yeah, we just had a lot of fun with it, and I think one of the things was that it soundtracks an imaginary film. It sort of goes from what is what is creepy Jenny, and it sort of turns out to be a doll, sort of infected by something from space, which is my friend Sarah Scruff McFarlane. Her pictures of creepy doll portraiture really inspired that. But yeah, it's just
Brilliant. I was going to ask you about that because obviously I
well,
see in the
well,
write-up Sarah's mentioned, isn't she? So,
yeah, she's incredible. One of my just a really as a friend, just someone that you. So I'll dip in very quickly. I'll dip in. So when I was writing Tea, I went down to Tea the album, the Welsh album. I went down to Bristol, which is where she lives, and I stayed with Sarah, and I stayed in her basement, and I took my guitar down, and I just recorded. No, not recorded. Sorry, worked out different parts. I remember. I think we did a number of things around that time, but I'd sort of come back and I'd play guitar for a bit, and then I realised that Pan by Cathode and Roller Moore, off T, was two sections that I'd written at that time, so I wrote quite a lot. But yeah, it's so Sarah has taken pictures as beautiful things in foreign lands for years. A lot of I can't remember what it's called, but cross processing, so taking pictures with slide film and getting it processed by Boots, for example, and then odd colors. But just a wonderful photographer and amazing artist, and sort of just it was so fun to just go, these images are inspired by Sarah.
brilliant. You've got to give full credit here to Anshia straight away. I need states before we carry on about Vicky's artwork and Plenty Wedlock. It's always superb, but without doubt, this Creepy Jenny one is the most, not buying this most freaky one I've seen this year. That is, it's
She's
incredible.
worked so hard on that for
It
years on that.
shows. It really, really shows that. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's we were trying to work out, and it's fair enough saying this. We were trying to work out whether it's too horrific for people to own or interesting enough for people to want to. So, but
Mm.
it's sold yeah, it's sold well. It hasn't sold out yet, but it's drips and drabs.
Yeah, yeah, I get it, but it's still it's a fascinating art. It's they always say it's like a good book is same with EP sometimes. The artwork can really draw you in, and that's one that's either going to freak you out or intrigue you. Uh,
Yeah, it was done especially for Halloween as well. We were intending to do that. So the catalog number is PW013, and it's been kept that way for
Oh,
years.
I was wondering why that
Yeah.
took so long for that to come out then, that catalogue number. That explains why.
Yeah, they've gone a little bit out of sync, but yeah.
No, sorry, fair play, mate. Now, obviously, that pretty well covers the current releases as of recording. There is two more releases to come this year. One of which, obviously, it's been delayed, but we'll come on to that first. And I've heard one sample track of each of these, and the cinematic in both of them is absolutely superb.
Mm.
Now, we're going to talk about Snail Beach Mines reissue first of all, which you sent me one track over that, and it blew me away absolutely because the original's great. What made you want to bring this out as a remaster and reissued 15 years later?
Okay, so Snail Beach Mines Trust was the first Wayside and Woodland E.L. Heath release, and it came about kind of oddly because uh, Shropshire Hill Country, the album that came after, was actually written and basically finished beforehand, but we had it ready and we thought, why not? Let's go for it. And so bizarrely, we had two albums released through one artist on Wasteland Woodland in a year. And so the Snail Beach album came out and sold out very quickly. I mean, just within 2 to 3 months. I think I found a few copies a few years back, but basically just the versions we had sold out. And then we did the Snail Beach, sorry, the Shropshire Hill Country one, and we did. I think we did more CDs of that. So basically, both albums were coming up for 10 years in 2020, which is a shockingly bad time to have attempted any sort of reissue. I think if you're trying to wash your hands or sanitize your hands when sending things out, and most of the pressing plants are closed, it's a no-goer. And I sort of slowed down to the point that I just did the Fragments one, around that time. I couldn't even think of doing music properly. I was sort of trying to go out. I think I'd set myself to go out every day from the point of lockdown, and I just went walking and just went out and tried to experience things and notice my local area. But yeah, so uh, 2025 seemed a better bet, 15 years. So we were trying to sort of stylize it or focus it on getting Snail Beach and Shropshire Hill Country out again as a second go, I guess. Obviously, Snail Beach selling out meant that it would need to be reissued. And then when we got back to it, we just remixed it and thought it's different. And one of the most enjoyable things I think is working with Ben Holton on it, who's remastered it, but also come up with other ideas and sort of said, sort of space it out, make it more cinematic,
It
make it
showed.
wider. Yeah. Yeah, and the detail he's brought out is incredible. I mean, we've remixed it better. I can definitely say that. Some of the textures that we brought out, Ben has locked into those textures and just, I mean, some of them are just sort of luxuriate in how good they sound. They sort of almost come through the speaker to you.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful version, but we've had to delay it a little bit. So we were hoping to release it earlier this month, but we've delayed it until December. We'll get it out hopefully sooner, but it's got line notes by Ben and basically just it's a beautiful thing. And the Shropshire Hill Country reissue is as mentioned last time. It's a book. So it's a person experiencing the album listened to on a journey through the Shropshire Hill Country, and that's coming out very hopefully. I mean, absolutely fingers crossed. I think it is a guarantee through Wasteland Woodland next year. So
Good.
missed
Good.
missed the 15, but sod it. It was done in that time.
Yeah, now, obviously, it's worth noting, obviously, when we clarify to people, alongside the remaster of, certainly of Snail Beach, there is 5 extra tracks.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything you want to reveal about these?
Yeah, so there was an EP planned. So the basic idea of the Snail Beach album was to go to Snail Beach. So there were different stages. I think I've sort of mentioned this before. Maybe not on here, but there's a book about Mitonite, I think it's called in Shrewsbury, that mentions it, where I moved to Shropshire when I was 6. I moved to Snail Beach from Snail Beach when I was 16 to down to the valley, and I went back at 26 to sample and record the sounds of the Snail Beach album, and I wrote it then. So yeah, I feel flipping ancient now,
Well,
but
I'm about, what, 12 years older than you, so I'm really ancient, mate,
yeah,
right?
yeah, but it was sixes. It was sixes. So
Yeah, 6, yeah.
what I did was I recorded a lot of sounds around then. So I thought, let's see, can I combine the sort of field recordings that I did then? A lot of things like there were a lot of them, me sort of squashing my coat against my side, and uh,
Brilliant.
certainly Lord's Hill, the track Lord's Hill's got me singing in I think it's like a valve house.
Ooh,
So yeah, there's lots of bits, but I just listened through to them and thought, "Oh, I need to make it narrative. I need to make it, to work out how this will work as a bunch of field recordings." And so I worked really hard on that. There were a bunch of tracks from an EP that was supposed to be a return. Went a bit more dancey, bizarrely. I don't know, kind of. I think around the time there was a lot of Witch House and stuff like that. Yeah, and they didn't go anywhere. So I thought, well, let's include them. So there's extra, I think, a miscellaneous, you know. So it's an elongated version of the album, and if people want to listen to the extras, they can. I was very taken by. I think there was Rob Glover we were talking about, and also Mike Rowley. So Rob Glover did a an album where there was a remix that came on at the end of the album that he'd recorded that wasn't kind of same time but wasn't related, but it fitted so perfectly on my phone. I thought, that sounds great. And Mike Rowley did one as I can't remember actually. He did an EP with his friend Kieran, and no, sorry, the two EPs put together, sorry, as an album. And I listened to them and thought, oh, that's an interesting way. You know, it doesn't tell you it's going to go into the next EP.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting how these kind of things happen,
Yeah, no, yeah,
and what they inspire in you.
brilliant. No, great stuff, mate. Yeah, now the last release I'm aware of this year, unless you're going to do something you've not told me, is the one you've been working on earlier on today, haven't you? One you
Oh
sent me,
yeah,
one you sent me a track of yesterday, and again, I thought it was. I was thinking to myself, well, considering there's 15 years between these two releases, the new one, obviously by the Aquarium, is it? That
Antiquarian.
Antiquarian, that's it. That's my pronunciation. Again, both those tracks, last 2 days, were really so cinematic. It was hard to believe there was a gap between the pair of them, actually.
Yeah, it's an interesting one that they are both being, I guess, Snail Beach and the Antiquarian are kind of influencing each other as well.
Yeah,
So a quick recap is that the Antiquarian was something. I mean, hands up. I looked it up and went, no one has ever called themselves the Antiquarian. I'm a big fan of things like Arthur Machen and M.R. James, and certainly Robert Lloyd Parry's recitals as Nunky. And they were very, antiquarianism is a thing, and Julian Cope did the Modern Antiquarian, of course. But no one has ever, amazingly, recorded anything as the Antiquarian. So I basically posited you a track. So are you still doing your Christmas?
I'm not. I'm not doing it this year. To be honest, I've took the
Not doing
year
this
off.
yet.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
if Keith's doing it. I'll double check and let you know on that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, so there was this really interesting thing that happened years ago, which was that you were putting out a Christmas theme
madness.
or anti-Christmas basically.
Yeah,
So we had these really fascinating versions of things, and people basically just sort of shouting down a phone at stuff, and it just anything goes. It was wonderful.
yeah.
And I remember that was the first time I'd ever sung properly on something. So I did the Winter Wonderland one, very much in the style of the Cocktail Twins. And yeah, I remember you asking for a track, and I had something, and I sent it to you, and I said, "Oh, it's the Antiquarian." It was the Marvelous Toy or the Magic Toy, um, which was good fun. And then the next year it was, oh, I probably should do some more. And the kind of the thing about the Antiquarian is it's mostly these releases anyway. They're charity releases. They're at least either 100% or half the profits will go to charity. And to the last release, it went to the the place that cared for Ben Holton's father's place. I think I can't remember exactly which one it is, so I'm not going to sort of estimate. But yeah, we try to do it for charity, and this year we're going to split it. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't decided exactly who yet. It might be Kuan, who is Animal Rescue. But what we're doing is a physical version this time. So we're doing a
Ooh.
bunch of wassailing tunes, carols, which are recorded and arranged not a cappella. So they are sung
Ooh.
a cappella. So wassaling is to toast the health, I guess, of your harvest with apple trees and cider. And this is a sort of reinterpretation of it.
Oh.
So yeah, it's an interesting and slightly yeah an odd slightly odd place to go. I mean, so I'll mention is that it will be released on the 5th of December in a box with a black envelope and black, hopefully, if this works, black paper printed as a as an album with about I think I've got 8 or 9 carols that have been reinterpreted. But yeah, it's something new. I think it's a reint. It's what I wanted to do with the antiquarian is to sort of reinterpret an archaic melody, as I put it. So
Brilliant. Brilliant.
yeah.
No, good stuff, man. No. Good luck, definitely. So now, obviously, next year now. So I would like to start wrapping up the podcast now
Mhm.
with what plans we have coming out. Should we mention first of all about some of the writing books that are coming out scheduled for next year?
So we're hoping to do a book with Jen Dixon about the lost waterways or the hidden waterways of Birmingham. We're hoping to do something as well with Dr. Jack Hunter, who we've done
Oh, you
a
got a
book
second,
with.
you got a second book with Jack then? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're hoping to do a book with him about a conjurer's house or a cunning man's house, and we're working on a book with Stella Mitchell, who was the artist behind the London Lost Content Museum. I think it's called A Good Time That Was Never Had. It's about things that were
Title.
bought for parties that were never used.
That's a good title.
So yeah, and hopefully a book, yeah, with your good self as well.
Yeah,
So
well, we've got
yeah,
we're certainly talking about it. Well, I don't want to give too much away in case it goes up the pan, but yeah, I've started researching something local to me, definitely. So brilliant. So now, music-wise, obviously, if people are wondering, you told me already, you're not going to have as much out next year because you don't think your brain can handle it.
no. So if I can just search for it. Oh,
Ooh,
I should drop all my books. There we go. So yeah, we've got some releases next year. I think I've got them here. I do everything in Notepad. So
yeah.
it's
Now,
Hiroki Yamato Yama.
didn't you have some images you wanted to share tonight as well? Am I
I
right?
do, yeah. Well, I'm going to read a few little bits from the book if
Ah,
that's okay. So
yeah.
I
Do
can
it.
do
Do
them
we'll
very
do that.
quickly.
We'll do that in part three then for you, right? Yeah, that's fine.
Oh my goodness
Okay.
grief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So
Go
yeah,
for it.
so it's Hiroki Yamato, and he's doing a book called Yashisha. Sorry, an album called Yashisha, which is about just a sense of peace, basically, of good feeling. And he got through to me and said, "I'd love to do this album with you." And I listened to it and thought, "This is beautiful." So absolutely, we never really thought of doing any music. Outside, I guess Plenty Wenlock has probably been more about our sort of range of experience. I mean, I was born in the US, so there's obviously that, but yeah, something came through and it was beautiful, and we want to work on it. And also, there's an album by Mike Branch. I think it's under the name of Speed of Life. I'm not sure what the album's called at the moment, but we've been working on it for a good while. Again, a sort of an ambient album about American TV stations going off air and the music that they or the sounds they might make when they had gone off air. So they used to switch off.
Oh.
So yeah, that's a really fascinating one. He's from Athens, which is where I was born as well. So there's a
Oh.
nice link there.
Oh.
One other thing is I think there'll be the Tong album Future by all hope. Wildly will have something again, hopefully called Ritual Transmissions and Fragments too as well by
Brilliant.
Eric Loveland Heath.
Brilliant. I said, even though it's going to be a quieter year for you, technically, you're still going to be busy next year, to be honest with you. And knowing you, Eric, it won't put it past you to get some other projects on the go as well. So,
Oh, yeah, I'll probably find some stupid reason to do so.
yeah, I think, no, never stupid, just something unplanned. Brilliant stuff, mate. Okay, give us the hard sell then. Where can people get hold of all the Plenty Wedlock material?
So people can get the music from Plenty Wenlock .bandcamp.com. Um, so that's, I mean, we sort of share the stuff across them, but the Bandcamp is where we would put the music. But also, for example, with the books, if we've got audio, and if we're going to do audio books, you know, we're aiming to do some audio books at some point. We host them there. Why not?
That's great.
So
Oh, brilliant.
so
Brilliant.
yeah, hopefully, you know, Jack and I mean, I might have some as well there as well. But yeah, so plentywenlock.bandcamp.com is the music or physical audio side, and then Plenty Wenlock Press at .bigcartel.com is where we would do prints and books and things. And that's where the majority of people have been buying, you know, Jack's book, you know, this one here. We've got others stored up there. We've got ebooks as well. Actually, we're doing PDF ebooks as well.
Oh, yes, of course
But
you
yeah,
remember saying
if
brilliant.
if people are interested in border kind of, you know, mythology, music, intrigue, folklore, go for it.
Brilliant stuff. Social media plugs for yourself, Eric, then, to wrap up with.
Yeah, so Plenty Wenlock exists on Blue Sky. I don't have a personal one there, but I think it serves for it. Facebook's got both, I think, Plenty Wenlock and EL Heath, and the same on Instagram really, which is I think where I put more of my pictures. So Plenty Wenlock exists as sort of a publisher, a record label with what we do. And then I will put up, I think we're sharing this at the moment as well, was that these quite interesting video vignettes or stories around Jack's book
Brilliant.
that are shared. Yeah. And then I will put pictures up on my EL Heath one. So there's Plenty of Wenlock and then there's EL Heath, E.L. Heath on Instagram. I've been a bit slower this year, but I think it's probably the nature of it because one of the things that has been so enjoyable is working with all the bookshops. You know, we have been releasing books, sort of sharing, uh, putting books out in bookshops such as Eves and Lord in Montgomery, the Great Oak in Llanidloes. You know, we've got people asking us for them, and therefore, you know, it's we're working with people. So I think Plenty Wenlock sort of slightly changed a bit.
Good. No, great stuff, mate. Brilliant stuff. Fully enjoyed it today, this chat. So now people are wondering, obviously, Eric's going to do a little bit of reading for us. So we're going to let him catch his breath for a minute
Yeah.
and we'll show back to everybody who shakes off the dice. Brilliant, this, mate. Absolutely tremendous. He said it's like, you think last year we did lasted about an hour, didn't we? This year it's been nearer two, but it's
It's
been a busy year. So,
goodness. So I don't look. I don't say goodness grief a lot, and I've done it so often. I've been checking myself. Yeah, it's been a ridiculous one,
yeah.
and I'll just say it right now. The two albums, the Fragments album and the uh, Speed of Life one, I had to get through to Mike and say, "I'm sorry, but we just don't have the time." Because I got through to Vicky and said, I don't know how I'm going to do this," and she said, "Just don't." I was like,
Yeah. She's right.
she's
She's
right. I
right.
just don't
Yeah.
have the time to do it.
You don't because like it's I'm often involved in so much as a podcaster on a weekly basis. That's
Mm.
part of the reason why I'm next year has been a quieter year for me because I've got to learn to manage my time better because otherwise you get nothing done.
Well, that's the thing. So Rob Griffith, my friend, he manages his time by just leaving his phone somewhere else. So I just yesterday I just left my phone downstairs. I just left it charging because I hadn't charged it up, and I just left it down there. And I just did about three things to antiquarian tracks. I went, yeah, that's good. And went, this is a really good way of doing it, but also I'm bored. You know, it's this annoying thing of going, I want constant,
You do
but
sometimes.
I'll just cycle through emails and stuff. It's stupid. So
No,
yeah,
okay.
let's do a few bits. But
Brilliant.
have you got Jack
Do you
next
want
week?
to? No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks
Two
time for
weeks.
Jack. 2 weeks
Okay.
time for Jack. Right. Do you want to take a quick break then and come back, or jump straight into it? It's up to you, mate.
I will have a very short break and
Right. We'll
then
see you all. See you in two shakes of ice, guys. And let me take a quick break.